Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video, and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker being episode 9 is under debate once more. And it says, the article title says, latest Star Wars news. Fans debate the future of the Sith as they once again tear apart The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I've seen The Rise of Skywalker when I was in theaters. It was not exactly a satisfying ending to the Skywalker saga for me. It could have been better. It could have been a better movie, in my opinion. There isn't much for me to tell about why, so I'm gonna go in the article. I was trying to think of reasons why. Sorry for the awkward pause. Anywho, reading 3, 2. Disney and Lucasfilm has been quite strict that no Star Wars story takes place later in the timeline than the Rise of Skywalker. The closest we gotten are Star Wars Visions episodes, The Twins of the Ninth Jedi, and the scene in the Star Wars Lego Holiday Special that showed Finn receiving Jedi training from Rey. Those are all non-canon. And that kind of goes into this argument that I've been saying recently, that I made a video about it not too long ago, and I feel like Star Wars should graduate from just staying in the original trilogy, just staying in this prequel, move on. Have some stories in the sequel trilogy timeline. Have some stories that's like after the events of the Skywalker timeline. The rest of the Skywalker saga, that's canon. Like, there's still stories that Disney can tell past the Skywalker saga, past their trilogy and the 6 movies, that they're restricting themselves and I have no idea why. And it's frustrating to people like me because I do want to like the sequel trilogy timeline, but Disney, Lucasfilm is making it so very hard for me to do so. I do want to. It's just like at least some things in the Disney Star Wars timelines that's not only in the movies. And right now, like, my perception of the Star Wars sequel trilogy is like I don't want it to be but how can they expect people like me to change their mind if they're not gonna touch the sequel trilogy? If they're not gonna add anything, if all they're gonna do is add stuff to the original trilogy, the prequels, in between those 2 trilogies, and in between the prequels, in between the original trilogy and the sequels, being like Book of Boba and Mando and Ahsoka. I want to see. Admittedly, I was not a huge fan of the sequel trilogy as a whole. I'm interested in seeing where does the future take Finn. I want to see where Finn's adventure takes after the sequels. I do. I'm mad that Disney is not doing that. I'm mad that Star Wars Lucasfilm isn't going to make any stories, and I do hope that they change their mind and do something like that, because I think most of Finn's potential was kind of squandered in the movies. I think Finn still has debatably some potential, and I want to see some of that potential flourish. But they can't if they're not going to do anything past the sequels. It's frustrating. Anywho, that's a conversation for another time. We're talking about Sith and the future and stuff like that. Anywho, they won't last forever. You can bet that somewhere in the Lucasfilm story group they will have a fake plan for the sequel trilogy to the sequel trilogy. Though any official announcement is years away. And I'm hoping that's the case because, oh my god. I'm hoping we'll get another show. But it's set in the sequel trilogy, or after the sequel trilogy. Yeah. Anywho, guess, I really want that so bad. Anywho, that doesn't stop fans from speculating on what comes next, especially in regards to whom the villains may be. Could or should the Sith return for future stories? Though shows like Andor and The Mandalorian has proven that you can tell a perfectly good Star Wars story without relying on lightsabers. Any like okay, that's true. Never mind. Any new trilogy would infinitely feature the Jedi in some form. The people demand lightsaber duels, so who's around to clasp blades with any new heroes? As the rise of Skywalker, the Sith have been defeated. Palpatine is finally dead for real this time, and the Codex of Exegol has been eradicated. However, thousands of years of galactic history have left innumerable Sith artifacts, tombs, and holocrons scattered across various planets, and someone force sensitive with a craving of power is inevitably going to one day stumble across them. And that's also true. The knives are out once more for the Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker has been a whipping boy for fans ever since it released, and frankly, it deserves every bit of mockery thrown at it. Somehow, Palpatine has returned. Come on. Yeah, that was pretty dumb. Fans are currently picking holes in the trailer-tastic sequel in which Kylo Ren drives his TIE Whisper directly to Rey, with her doing a sick backflip over the craft and slicing off his X-wing, slicing off a wing of her with her lightsaber. It looks cool, but what exactly was he trying to accomplish? If he wanted to kill her, why didn't he fire the ship's guns? If his goal wasn't murder, why did he try and ram her at high speed? The most popular conclusion is that Kylo knew the trailer needed an eye-catching moment to sell the movie, and this was the best they could muster. For once, there's an actually a sensible answer though. He knew he wouldn't kill Rey, and simply piling the pressure on in an attempt to push her towards the dark side. Why his plan required his stylish starfighter to explode into a ball of flames and his cockpit to bound across the desert like a golf ball remains unknown. Does Cassian Andor pale in comparison to the meek and mild animated spy? And then you're talking about the character from Resistance, by the way. Though we're only 5 episodes into Andor, we already know that its hero is one of the best operatives in the Rebel Alliance. Resistance Alliance. Oh no, never mind. You're right. Andor, since we're talking about Andor, yeah, it is the Rebel Alliance, sorry. Though we were only 5 episodes into Andor, we already know that its hero is one of the best operatives in the Rebel Alliance. The show is just getting into Cassian's history with the Rebels, but Rogue One shows that he's eventually key to stealing the Death Star plans at the cost of his own life. One fan believes he's nothing compared to Star Wars Resistance Kazuda Cassiono. The evidence is that he's less bloodthirsty. His friendly demeanor means nobody suspects that he's a spy. His social skills allows him to make friends with Imperials, and he's on board with the Resistance from the start. We're convinced, especially because Cassian Andor's ruthlessness is precisely what makes him more effective. In addition, the most recent episode of Andor shows that he sees details that the other rebels miss, like ensuring that a left-handed soldier doesn't walk with their weapon facing towards the formation, or exactly how they're going to move the loot in the Imperial base. We still have 19 episodes of Andor to come. 19? Okay. But I'm happy that they're going past the whole 8-9 episode standard that they created on Disney Plus. Sorry. But even now, we have all the evidence we need that Cassian is the cream of the crop as far as the galactic espionage go. And that's really it. So I don't see where they said they're where they really talk about the future of like the sequel trilogy era, but I have to I have to agree with their take on Andor. I think Andor is more is a better spy than Kaz is. I mean, granted that yeah, Kaz has his strengths, and they listed his strengths, sure, but Andor is a better spy um than Kaz. But in terms of if the Sith should return, no, no, I don't think so. One, I think the Sith shouldn't have returned past Jedi because Anakin fulfilled the prophecy, and I think we since they brought Sidious back and killed him off again in one movie, I think it's time if they're going to introduce a dark side group of in the Force that is a it's not the Sith, it's under a different name. Because I think it would be poetic that Anakin was the one who was prophesized to bring balance to the Force by destroying the Sith. And I know there's arguments that says in Revenge of the Sith, it says that Yoda says a prophecy that could have been misread, and where some people use that as to say that Rey was the chosen one besides Anakin. Regardless of how you slice the argument, I don't think the Sith should be used anymore if like past Episode 9. Because the last Sith, Sidious, died in Episode 9. So unless if they're going to bring us like Sith up like in between the prequels and the original trilogy, or like have a Dark Jedi wanting to be a Sith but never called himself Sith in between the original and the sequels, then or maybe like even after the original trilogy, I don't know. But I don't think the Sith should really come back. Because the Sith have their time. They were literally in 3 different trilogies. We don't need the Sith to come back. Have a different dark side group. Like, part of the reason why the Knights of Ren was so popular is because a lot of fans thought that was a new dark side group. Turns out the only person that was like really using the dark side of the Force in Knights of Ren was Kylo Ren. I don't think the other Knights of Ren that we saw in the Rise of Skywalker were Force sensitive. So like, I think it's time to give the Knights of Ren, not Knights of Ren, the Sith a rest. Sure, you can keep the Jedi, but it's time for the Jedi to face a new dark side entity. Maybe like Sith 2.0, but don't have the title Sith. Have it be like, if you want the Sith, like call them the Sith Ari. I think I don't know if that's canon now, but the Sith Ari, if they have it like that, sure it has the name Sith in it, but it's not Sith. It's a different dark side use faction group. Too lazy to be completely original, because they have Sith and Sith Ari. But you guys get what I mean. Like, Knights of Ren sounds cool. Have it be a different dark side group if there's going to be a new dark side user group for the new trilogy. Assuming that Disney does this. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Guys, have a wonderful day. Be kind one another, and I'll catch you guys later.